So what's interesting is the thing that you want, it's already complete in itself. We don't need to add anything to it. But if you've ever reached a certain point on your journey, it doesn't matter like what you're trying to do. I know we're always talking about fitness here. So we'll use that as an example, but if you're stuck in your business, relationships, whatever, this is what this is pertaining to. The example for fitness is if you reach a certain point, maybe you can lose 5, 10, or 15, but you can't lose any more. And then you'll hear people say that, like, I can only lose a certain amount, and they're actually professing to you truth for them, which is true for them. We know it's not true that they can't do it, but what really causes that thing to happen and people get stuck, they get frustrated with that thing, and then ultimately what happens is they give up on doing the thing because they don't think it works, and then they go back all the way to where they were before, which is super frustrating. This is something that I was reading today, and why it is that, gosh, I'm studying this stuff all the time because it's so profound. We go as humans toward more complication, and that's not what we need to do. And I think we do that because we think that this is a really difficult thing that I'm about to do. So it's following those lines in our mind, like, oh, I got to find something really complicated, right? Like, how do I do this? I'm going to go to this thing. I'm going to get this book. I'm going to, study this, and then I'll put this thing in place. I'll do all this. Like, it's too complicated. It's super simple. I read this stuff all day long. And this is the way for getting past. If you're getting stuck, things aren't working for you, even if you can't get off the start blocks right here. One of the things man must realize is that it is impossible in dealing with this spiritual law of consciousness to put new wine into old bottles or new patches on old garments. That's Matthew 9, 16 through 17, Mark 2, 21, 22, Luke 5, 36 through 39. Biblical stuff. That is, you cannot take any part of the present consciousness into the new state. For the state sought, the state that you're seeking, is complete in itself and needs no patching. Every level of consciousness automatically expresses itself. And this is really interesting. So, not understanding that, we look and we go, okay, like, how am I going to do that? How am I going to do that? I believe it's Malachi that they say, my ways are past finding out. So you're not going to discover the how until you actually do it. So we just have to learn to radically let that stuff go and realize that in that moment, what it's telling you is the state is complete within itself. So if you've got stuck and you can't go any further, you're trying to figure the how out, and you're really doing it from the state of being stuck, and you have to let stuck go. Remember, he said, drop everything and follow me. That means let everything you know go, and then seek the new thing, the new state. And here's an example. A client of mine, we were talking just a few weeks ago, I want to say maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, said that it was like 222 or something that they had said that, like, that's me, like that's, and he's a taller guy, and he's in good shape. He's not in bad shape, but he had that thing in his mind that said that that's what it is. And then he said, it's like I can get down to 215 or something like that, but then it doesn't, I always go back, or it's like I can't get anything below that. And he was trying to figure out, how am I going to do that? How am I going to do that? And we had a conversation, and I said, well, where do you want to go? Which is what you're asking yourself, is that you say, well, what's the state that I want to go to? And he said, I think I'd like to be 210. And I did push him there, and I would push you too. Because at that point, a lot of times as adults, what we do is we talk about what we think we can get, and we don't talk about what we really want, because we don't know how it's going to happen, and it seems too far out there. But you got to push it a little further out there, and here's why. Because out there is something that you love. And when you really love the thing, that's why you'll actually work for it. Good example is you date somebody, you were supposed to be dating them, but you didn't like them very much. First bump in the road, it's out, right? Same thing when you set the small goals. Like, that's why we don't want to do that, but we fall into that trap as adults. You really want to push it out there to the thing that you love. And so you have the thing that you love, and he says 200. Yeah, I'd really like to do that. Not done that. So powerful. I said, okay, so what does that feel like? Answer's always simple. Feels really good. But as you start to play with that state, what you realize is that that state is complete in itself. It told you, the Bible and everything says this, you're never going to know how until you actually do it. For you specifically, you can get methods people have done, but it's always going to be unique to you. So you just drop all that stuff and you really hold the state. You really feel the state. It's complete within itself. So when you hold that state and you feel what it feels like to have that, what you'll realize is that you can take that with you everywhere all the time. Where you're going, what you're eating, what you're doing in certain social situations or whatever it might be. And again, this transfers over in business life, anything that you're doing, you're becoming this new version of you. And that state will have the answer for how you're going to do the thing that you're going to do right there. How it does it, which is ultimately you, that you're practicing on the conscious level being. So that's all I wanted to share with you today. If you've been stuck, you want to break a plateau, you don't understand, like, why am I always stuck doing this thing? The thing that you're seeking, the thing that you're wanting to do is, it's not needing anything. That's the most powerful point of it. If you're needing something, you're coming from the old state. You're going to the state that you're growing into, and that state will tell you exactly what to do and what to be. It doesn't need anything, and practice that. It's a radically different approach. With my client, what happened is he broke his plateau, and then he's automatically going to the point where he wanted to go, which was the 200, which, you could tell by the first bit of the conversation. He wasn't even sure if he could do that. We never know how we're going to do it. Just let it go, hold the state, let the state guide you, be amazed at the how when it shows up, and enjoy it.